Some of them weren't just dressed properly, some of them didn't have, I mean it's a fact, I have to say this, some of them weren't clean, some of them they never used to have a good odor. The first thing I used to smell, every time, I used to hate this, I used to hate going to mosque, the reason is, I'm telling you the reasons why. When I used to go into in the mosque, the first thing was the stench of the shoes. It's sad, but it's true. And this gives you, as a child, this gives you an identity of the places you like and the places you hate. I used to come, and every time you had to come, put your shoes, and the smell of the shoes of the carpet was old, and there's dirt on the floor always, and you had to go through a corridor, and then the wudu area of that mosque, the water used to always collect, and it wasn't cleaned at every time, and the smell of water, you know, when the water has stained around the taps and around the place you do wudu, I used to hate this. I never used to speak, until today I've never spoken about it to anyone. So the reason why I'm telling you is why I was not proud to be Muslim. I didn't know what my identity was as a Muslim. And these are the reasons why. Why is it that the kuffars clean their service and clean the toilets in hospitals, clean their toilets in schools every single day? They have a routine, they have a caretaker, they keep a caretaker to clean the wet areas of the building, to clean the toilets, and we Muslims literally leave them in dirt. I mean, dirt is always going to collect, whether it's adults or whether it's children, dirt is always going to be there. It's the cleaning process that we have. If you clean it from day number one, every single day, with bleach and with detergents, then that place will not stay smelly. But unfortunately, a lot of the mosques you walk into, unfortunately, those places don't smell good. And that will have an impact on a child. I'm talking from my own perspective. As a child, I would never speak to an adult because that adult might slap me so hard I might fall down the stairs. I'd probably be told, my father would probably told, oh, your son talks ill about the masjid. So I would never tell my father about it. I never would talk to anyone. And even someone at that age would have wanted to take it out of my heart. I would be very hesitant to tell them because of the fear that I have of these people around me. The next thing, we sat in that place to learn the Holy Quran. But that's all we did from the age of 8 till the age of 14. That's basically just memorizing the Quran. It's very sad, we never had a religious discussion with the teacher. And one of the reasons why is because the teacher used to speak only Urdu, never used to speak English. And if you're sending your child to a place where your child doesn't understand English, the teacher doesn't understand English, then I would have second thoughts about sending to that place. Because let me tell you one thing, because there's no interaction with the teacher, that child will not take from that teacher much. I used to go to that mosque, pray my sabak, or what I had to say to the teacher, and never used to have a conversation with him. The only one thing I remember that teacher condemning me of was a chain I had round a bracelet I had round my wrist. He saw the bracelet, and I remember, I mean this is a big impact at the age of 12. I had this bracelet with I had engraved my own name on this bracelet. Basically it was a fashion at that time, my friends had it, so I did that. And I remember the impact that it had when my teacher explained to me in a nice way about this bracelet. He called me over and he said to me, this bracelet that you have, did you know that on the Day of Judgment, that this bracelet could be turned into fire? And on that day, Allah, if you don't get rid of this bracelet, He could make you wear this bracelet of fire. So if I was you, I would get rid of this bracelet from your own self. That's the only thing I remember that I had as something which was a communication with my teacher. Otherwise there's no other communication. You walked in, you read, and you waited till 7 o'clock or 9 o'clock. As soon as it's 9 o'clock, that was the best time. You rushed out. I remember we used to come the last to the mosque and the first to be out. That's bad. That's really bad. If a child is doing this, it shows, just by him coming last to the mosque and first one out, it shows that he's not interested in Islam. He might do it until he's a teenager, but once he's got his own rights and he can speak up to you, he'll tell you that he doesn't want to go to the mosque. He wants to go in his own direction, and they will force you to accept what they want. And it's your fault at that age if you haven't given them the true Islamic teachings. Now, I went with that bracelet out of the mosque, And I remember there was a site that had been reconstructed. I took that chain off that very night and I threw it onto the ground. Myself. I didn't have to be forced to throw it. And this is the teachings that Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam gave. When he saw a woman who wasn't paying zakat on the gold that she was wearing, he said, "Atuhibbin an takuna hadani suwaran do you wish, O woman, that these two necklaces that you are wearing, do you wish that they become part of your necklaces of fire on the Day of Judgment, because you haven't paid zakat on these necklaces?" And that woman straight away she paid his zakat, because of the very words the Prophet ﷺ used with her. From that age, I went through a lot of things. Believe me, outside the school, in school I went a lot of things. And my parents till today, they don't know what I went through. And a lot of parents here are ignorant of what your children are going through. If your child is in a state school, let me tell you, really, you have sent him to the house of shaitan. The house of shaitan. Why? Because they put doubts in your mind. They make you, and if somebody doesn't answer these questions in the mind, then they will lose their faith. At the age of 10 or 11, I remember my teacher, my form tutor at junior school. She asked me a question one day. She said to me, what do you do when you go home? I said, "Oh, from 5 o'clock to 9 o'clock I'm busy." "What are you busy with?" "I go to the mosque and I read the Quran and I'm memorizing the Quran." I was happy to say that part. I was happy to say that. She said, "How big is the Quran?" I said, "Oh, approximately," I was talking about this Quran here, it's about approximately 848 pages. I said, "I'm memorizing this book," and I was really proud to say that. She said, "Okay, recite for me a little part." So I recited a small part. Then after she heard it, she said, "Okay, now tell me what it means." So I said, "I don't know what it means." Then she said to me, "You don't know what it means and you're reading this Quran. How is that? How can you read something you don't understand?" And that struck me at that age. I thought to myself, why am I reading this book that I don't understand? And how can I now convince this woman that my religion is true and what I'm reading and what I'm learning is true, when she sees me learning something which in parrot fashion that I don't even understand? And I was baffled. I was gobsmacked. I didn't know what to say to this teacher. And that certainly had an impact on me for years. That why am I reading something which I don't understand? Why should I read? He said the shaitan plays on you. Shaitan slowly says to you, why are you reading? Or what are you going to gain benefit of something you're reading which you don't understand? And if we don't take up the steps of changing the ways our teachings are changed, where children come to the mosque and they learn something of the Quran, at least learn some meaning of the Quran, and go away and say, "Alhamdulillah, at least I've got access to the meaning of the Quran." I didn't read a meaning of the Quran till I was 12 years old. 12 years old, when I went to Bangladesh as the first time, I went to Dhaka, and I told my cousin, brother, so I said, "I want a meaning of the Quran." That's the first time I said it, because I had some kind of inspiration. And when he bought me a copy of Yusuf, what's his name? Yusuf Ali's reading, I read the whole first juz. So anyway, at that age, throughout that age, I was always being bombarded by the Western culture, by the Western ideas, by the Western religions, and I did not have my own identity as Muslim. When we used to walk away from that mosque, the first thing we used to do, and I'm telling you this, from my house to the mosque was 10 minutes. All along when I used to walk, I used to already wear, the kurta that we have, the long dress that we have up to the knees. Every student, out of the 22 students that were there, every student wore that kurta before they left the house. And then a jump on or something on top of it. But you know what? That kurta was tucked inside the trousers. As soon as I left the house, as soon as I was out of sight, or even sometimes from my house, I would tuck that kurta in my trousers, because I didn't want to be known as a Muslim on the street. I didn't want anyone to laugh at me. And this is how I felt at that time. Now, alhamdulillah, I will walk in any place you tell me. Go anywhere with these clothes. At that time, I did not want to identify myself. And these are the reasons why, because I wasn't convinced about Islam. When I went to the mosque, as soon as you went on the corner where a teacher could see you, that's when you took it out of your trousers. And the first thing at 9 o'clock, as soon as we came out the mosque, the first thing we used to do, half of